Is this?
Teach him to show plate.
Print it out.
I don't think you show it. It's what you know.
What?
It's an internal. All right. Welcome everyone to the Township Council meeting, Monday, July 28th, 2025. This meeting is now called to order. All please rise. Councilman Hablitz, lead us in a salute to the flag. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please read the statement of public notice.
Take notice that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with NJSA 10:4-8 and NJSA 10:4-10 as follows. Notice of the meeting was prominently posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building located at 225 Main Street, Little Falls, New Jersey on January 7th, 2025. A copy of the notice was sent to the North Jersey Herald and News and the Record on the same date. Additionally, a copy of the notice was filed in the office of the Township Clerk on said date. A link and a telephone number to join the meeting virtually can be accessed on the Township website at littlefallsnj.gov. Electronic provisions have been established for the public to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, at this time, please call the roll.
Councilmember Patel?
Present.
Councilmember Murphy?
Present.
Councilmember Havlet?
President.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Present.
Council President Scoba.
Present. Mayor Damiano, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. I have to tell you, I really enjoy nights like this when we get to honor our youth sports teams here in Little Falls. And it has been a real privilege to be able to recognize so many athletes here in Little Falls who have brought trophies home to Little Falls. Let's have a round of applause for everybody that's here tonight and all these championship teams. We have had some very impressive baseball and softball seasons here in Little Falls this year. And tonight I'm honored to recognize two of the teams who brought home championships to Little Falls. And the first coach that I want to call up is Coach Dan Suarez, who led the 3rd and 4th grade girls to a league championship known as the White Tigers. Our 3rd and 4th grade softball team had an unforgettable championship season. Every player gave their best effort, whether it was hitting home runs, making big plays in the field, or cheering from the dugout. The team grew stronger every game and saved their best effort for the championship game, earning a 15-2 victory. Let's hear it for the White Tigers. I'm now going to turn it over to Coach Dan to bring up the girls one by one so we can get them all a medal.
All right, we'll start with Big Liv Hanlon. Emma Gomez. Little Liv Suarez. Aria DeBono. Angelina, aka Crocs. Ava. Juliana. Madison. And Lou. And I want to thank Coach Desiree for helping me out this year. And special guest, Coach Cole.
All right, let's get everybody up here for a photo. Congratulations. All right, up next, I'm going to invite Coach Justin up here, who led our 10U travel baseball team to the championship of the Continental Northwest Division. And we're here to recognize an incredible group of young athletes, the 10U PV Junior Hornets, who recently won the Spring Baseball Championship, defeating the Wayne Warriors with a final score of 2-0 and an overall record of 9-2. Let's hear it for that win. This win wasn't just about the scoreboard. It was about heart, teamwork, and perseverance. These boys have worked hard all season. They practiced in the rain, stayed late to perfect their swings, and learned how to lift each other up after tough games. And when it counted the most, they showed grit, determination, and true sportsmanship on the field. Many of these players have been together since they were 8 years old, and they support each other, encourage one another, and play the game the right way. And that kind of chemistry doesn't just happen overnight. It's built with trust, hard work, and shared passion. Wins like these are great, but what's even greater is the community, the lessons, and the friendships that come from it. Tonight, we're here to celebrate the PV Junior Hornets and our 10U Spring Champions. And now I'm going to hand it off to Coach Justin to call up his team and the other coaches.
Number 1, Kyan Karam. Number 2, Lucas Cowan. Number 3, Justin Francios Jr. Number 5, Jack Duffy. Number 7, Austin Jujets. Number 10, AJ Guller. Number 13, Braxton Saputo. Number 21, Max Santos. Number 22, Jackson Guadarrama. $33, Miles Mazzy. Eminem. And 99, John Paragallo. Big shout out to the parents for representing the squad this year. Thank you very much, parents. Coach John Paragallo. Coach Steve Callan. Coach Chris Geller. Come on, Geller.
All right, everybody head towards the center here. Come on, shift over, shift over. Congratulations. And everyone is invited to stay for the presentation from our schools. If you don't want to stay for that, it's a good time to leave.
Sorry, yeah. Don't, don't take it personal, but you should.
First one I grab every time.
I know, right?
Oh, no. Oh, you know what? Yep. Yep.
Would you like to introduce Superintendent Tracy Marinelli?
Absolutely. Superintendent Marinelli has joined us this evening for the presentation by herself and the board for this year's update on our schools. And I invite you to join us up here to answer any questions and do your presentation.
Good evening. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Tracy Marinelli. I'm the superintendent of schools for the Little Falls School District. Believe it or not, it's finished a decade of that. That went by very quickly. We're here this evening. We had planned to come here to present to you the referendum that we had planned for September. The timing is great because I know that hopefully by now you have all received the letter regarding some other plans and ideas that have come our way through Passaic County. So we're prepared to speak about that this evening as well. We want this to be interactive. I have with me today Mr. Frank Massinio from Solutions Architect. He is the architect of the school district, and he's going to be doing a comprehensive okay, thank you.
Yep.
He's going to be doing a comprehensive presentation this evening on the proposed projects and the different, how we came about the projects and the different funding plans. And at any time that you have a question or that you would like him to stop to review something, please raise your hand. I believe if you're on Zoom, you can raise your hand virtually as well, and we will answer any questions that you may have.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Frank Massinio, Solutions Architecture. We are the district's architect. And we're going to talk a little bit about the district's needs on the proposed projects for the referendum. So we were engaged to work with the district and identify and prioritize the needs of the district, as well as facilities improvements and ways to address capacity in the building. We wanted to consider ways to increase the facilities capacity without not just adding square footage, but what can we do with the existing building? It makes it more efficient and it also gets us more funding. We wanted to consider ways to improve the student experience, meeting the needs of today as well as tomorrow. And we wanted to be mindful of the fact that, failure for us to achieve something here results in increased class sizes. Specials continue to be on parts and not in rooms. and the inability to meet the needs of this growing enrollment. So our referendum priorities are three: increasing building capacities, student and staff safety, and keeping up to date with operation. So what is being proposed? The school district is proposing to request funding for a district-wide facilities program that would include capacity-generating classroom additions and infrastructure renovation projects via a referendum. That was the initial goal here, was to look at this as a third referendum. Recently, the Passaic County Improvement Authority advised the district that they would be willing to discuss financing this project under the recent law, PL 23 C311, amended by PL 24 C79, which provides an opportunity for the board to partner with the Passaic County Improvement Authority. The law permits the financing of school facilities project by the Improvement Authority without a referendum. The Improvement Authority finances the project through the sale and issuance of bonds, no different than a referendum. The board then repays the Improvement Authority's bonds through an annual lease payment, which doesn't impact their 2% tax levy, and also leaves us eligible to still receive the $8.6 million in debt service aid that was approved by the Department of Ed. This financing does still require approval of governmental bodies from the County Improvement Authority, et cetera, and the approval of the local finance board. So it's another option that the district felt they needed to explore. Why now? So as we all know, this is the third attempt at the district putting forth a referendum that will generate capacity for their classrooms. In spite of the 2% tax levy cap, the district has continued to do work in the buildings out of their capital reserve. What that does, though, is there's no funding available. So any work that gets done at a capital reserve is done at 100% of the cost. There's also no way that out of capital reserve, the district could do the amount of projects needed to be able to be done under this program. We're dealing with aging schools. If you look at these buildings, we have buildings that are 111 and 102 years respectively. Some have original roofing and windows. The parking lots are deteriorated. So there's a variety of conditions that exist that need to be addressed. We need to do more. Since October, student enrollment has continued to rise. It's amazing how many people want to move into Little Falls and have. Since October, the enrollment has gone up 44 students. It's 4.6%. And it continues to rise. Since the last failed referenda, the district has listened. They listened to public comment, reevaluated and redesigned the composition of this edition to make sure that we were doing things that achieved more debt service aid, that were able to meet the needs of the district. Current construction costs are higher. There's no doubt that construction costs are higher than they were 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. They are only going to continue to rise. So what that means that if the referendum does fail, it'll only cost more to do less later on down the road. So how did we listen? What's different about this plan? On the left is the scope of work that was included in the 2021 referendum. It included an auditorium addition. It included 11,000 square feet of an auditorium, gym refurbishment, cafeteria build out, multiple components. We looked at the needs that were associated with that and we modified them. We felt that a multi-purpose room addition would be more advantageous for the district. It would consolidate things for the district. We removed several pieces of scope. Interior renovations were increased, not reduced. There was no turf area that was in the previous one. And a lot of the work since the last referendum failed was completed out of the district's capital. So it wasn't needed to be included in this one. That includes floors, doors, interior doors, and boilers. At each of the schools, most of that scope was included. We expanded our scope to include infrastructure items that were necessary. There are additions at all 3 schools, and we included an auxiliary cafeteria and music room addition, as well as a classroom addition to School 3. The other difference that we have to point out between the last referendum and this one is the last referendum was previously approved for $4.4 million in debt servicing. Under this referendum, we were approved for $8.6 million of debt service aid because of the way we structured the project. After the failed referenda, the district still knew they needed to do projects and needed to get things done. So out of their capital reserve, they completed new flooring at all three schools, new boilers under a PSE&G program at all three schools, interior classroom doors, exterior classroom doors were done previously, new stairwell treads at school number 1, asbestos flooring encapsulation at all three schools, painting of classrooms and floor spaces at all three schools, and new classroom furnishings at all three schools. While all that work was done, it should be pointed out that it was done at 100% of the cost. No debt service or state aid was available. Now, for us, under the submission that we made for the Department of Education, we've been approved for debt service aid. And with the additions being constructed and the amount of interior renovations being done, we've been approved for 19.32% out of a maximum 34% debt service aid. That's because of the eligibility of the projects. That debt service aid will help pay down the projects and reduce the impact on you, the taxpayer. And by allowing the district to finance these projects over many years, anybody else that moves into town will help pay for those as well. So I'm going to talk briefly about the process in terms of the efforts to date. This didn't happen overnight. The district, we've been meeting for a while. We've been planning for a while. We've been reviewing the previous referenda, the community input, and we conducted a facility and capacity analysis of all three schools. There was an updated demographic study which verified the continued influx of people into Little Falls. It's a great town. People want to live here. We conducted a community survey twice. We wanted to get community input. We wanted to understand what the community needed, what the community felt we had to include. We did meetings with the staff and the administration to understand the educational programming needs. Things like art and music being on a cart, not being able to offer what they would normally offer had they had classroom space. We developed concepts to accommodate programming needs, and we established budgetary estimates for all of these, all keeping in mind wanting to increase that debt service aid number. And this is basically the overall timeline from when we began to where we are now. And we are looking, at a referendum to be able to get this done. The need really needs to be, explained. And that need is stressed existing facilities. 2 out of the 3 facilities are already above their functional capacity for the district. Overcrowded cafeterias. We have 4 lunch periods at school number 1 beginning at 10:34 a.m. Lunch begins at 10:34. There are 4 20-minute shifts that don't end until 2 o'clock. It creates disruption. It's not an ideal situation for students. We have specials like art and music on carts due to lack of dedicated space, and we have rising class sizes. Our 4th grade classrooms are currently exceeding the recommended guidelines and district practices, which strains the teacher's ability to meet the individual learning needs of the students. We're seeing significant growth as verified by the demographic study. 23% in enrollment increase from 2018-19 is projected by 29-30. That equates to 100 more students than we have today. And that number is probably 80 more students than we have today because the numbers continue to rise. Since October, as I said before, 44 students. We went from 954 students to 998 students, which is an increase of 4.61%. And there's 15 other additional students in pre-registration awaiting final approval. The town's trend continues in terms of growth. New residential developments, population growth, forecasting a 25% increase in the township population by 2030. So there's this definite need for long-term planning to accommodate all. The next slide shows the district average class size trend. So back in 2020, 2021, the average class size was about 15.3 students per class with a high of 16. In 22, 23, that number jumped to 18.2 with a high of 22. In 24, 25, currently, it's 21.2 students per class with 25 as the high in the 4th grade. If the referendum were to fail again, We don't know where those numbers would go. You'd be looking at 26, 27 students per class, 28. So those are things that have to be dealt with on the curriculum level, on the teaching level. It definitely impacts learning. Next, we'll show you some images because a picture's worth 1,000 words. At school number 1, the images you're looking at are eighth grade students waiting to get into lunch. Because of the timing and the duration between getting in lunch, and it's 4 periods that have 20 minutes, they're standing in the hallways while classes are in session. Not an ideal situation because they're doing what kids are doing. They're talking, they're yelling, they're, playing around while they're waiting, and other classes are in session. The cafeteria itself is undersized for the size of the population at school number 1. It's undersized. And the multipurpose room is undersized for the population at that school. The multipurpose room operates as overflow for lunch, and it also serves at times during inclement weather for recess. So now you've got lunch, recess, and whatever programs on the stage, music class, instrumental music. So it's really not conducive to learning. You can see children lined up. The custodial staff needs to set up and take down these tables daily. There's a table set up, a line, a serving line. It has to be set up. Those are operational costs that you're spending on a daily basis for the school. You'll see examples of art on a cart. Teachers carrying around paints and pens and all the implements she needs to teach the class on the cart. Same thing for music. Music is on a cart. Whatever program's being taught moves from classroom to classroom. Again, not an ideal situation. And the same at school number 3. That all-purpose room is overutilized. It serves lunch, recess, and whatever activities are going on the stage at the same time. So those are the needs. That's really where the crux of this is. It comes down to capacity. We're looking at enhancing these facilities so that they can promote learning. We're addressing the following areas: arts, learning, wellness, which are our enhanced learning environments, safety, and operations. So at school number 1, the work for these projects is divided into capital projects and educational projects. Capital projects are things that need to be done like roofs, boilers, and anything of that nature. Educational projects are anything that affects instruction, any part of the renovations that will affect instruction. So capital projects at school number 1 include site work, parking lot upgrades, sidewalk and drainage upgrades for that parking area. Roofing system upgrades. Our roofs are deteriorated, leaks are being seen inside the building, and that affects other things. As an architect, I want to control the envelope of the building and make sure that water doesn't come in, which causes other problems. Toilet room upgrades, cafeteria and multipurpose room renovations, as well as renovations related to the additions and the building itself, mechanical, electrical, lighting, plumbing, and fire alarm system upgrades. Here's an image of the site showing where the addition would go. This addition is a 10,000 square foot, 10,500 square foot addition. And in addition, we are also handling the parking and the site paving. So in order for this addition to occur, there are several moves that have to be made. The idea here is that we build an addition for a multipurpose room, which has a stage, a full-size gymnasium, a full-size basketball court with bleachers, adequate storage, and its own entrance. This building can be used for outdoor activities, activities outside of the school day, and doesn't allow us to go through the school building. In order for that to be constructed, that would then allow the cafeteria to move into the multipurpose room, to move into that space, which frees up the existing multipurpose room. The existing cafeteria will move into the existing multipurpose room. We're taking advantage of existing space. It is now big enough to serve more students at more time, which alleviates the 10:34 lunch starting period. And then the existing cafeteria, which was tiny to begin with, will be converted to 2 classrooms. We've picked up 2 general classrooms by making a couple of moves and building an addition. We're also picking up additional classroom space by renovating the main office area, the office for Board of Ed. What we're doing is we're bringing other offices from other schools into that area, renovating that, and that frees up areas in other schools for additional classrooms. One of the things that affects a building's capacity is the fact that special ed limitations are imposed upon regular classrooms. You can only fit 6 kids in a classroom. And what's happening in a lot of places is we have full-size 700 or 800 square foot classrooms that only have 6 kids in them. That limits the capacity of the building. So by being able to create small group instruction rooms, smaller room, we're able to get those full-size classrooms back. And that's also part of this plan. On the second level, we're renovating a classroom into a multipurpose technology classroom. And then as far as the multipurpose room addition, these are concepts. They're not fully designed buildings in the state of New Jersey. We're not fully designing them until the referendum passes. Otherwise, you'd be spending fees on architectural fees and engineering fees, with the possibility that the referendum doesn't pass. So an idea of what that multipurpose room can look like. A view from the inside. This is facing back towards the bleachers. There is also a view towards the stage. This is what that cafeteria could look like, reimagined. Our firm uses a lot of graphics within our space. It can transform an otherwise plain wall into something vibrant, and it's a relatively inexpensive way to transform spaces. This would be the existing cafeteria being converted into 2 large classroom spaces. This is that multi-purpose tech classroom reimagined upstairs. This is our music room. The music room currently is a long, very narrow room that has more than enough room to serve music, but it allows us to pick up another small group instruction by dividing that space. And this is our central office, creating necessary open office areas, as well as rooms that currently don't exist, like conference and collaboration, bringing CST offices back, child study team comes back into this building. School number 2, the work at school number 2 in terms of capital projects. All of the capital projects are relatively similar across the 3 schools. So site work, parking, drainage, roofing systems. This also has some masonry pointing for the roofs, cafeteria and multipurpose room graphics and renovations, stair tower renovations, which have new treads, walls, wall finishes, as well as those mechanical, electrical, lighting, and plumbing upgrades. So at school number 2, there's a proposed 8 classroom pre-K addition, very similar to what was included in the previous referendum. However, it's in a different location, which allows us to not do the extensive work that was done in the previous referendum. So why the need for pre-K? Funding for the preschool programs has expanded in New Jersey. It's seen an increase from last year of about 34.6 million. There's an additional 10 million included this year to expand the program into new districts, addressing the need for a growing need for the pre-K program by providing pre-K classrooms allows the district to apply for preschool expansion aid, which then frees up general budget for other items. You can pay for teachers, supplies. So there are ways to help offset costs. There are neighboring districts that have received a significant amount of preschool expansion aid, which has allowed them to fund those things that would normally come out of the regular budget. So on level 1 of that unit, that addition, and on of the school, we are providing 4 pre-K classrooms, including a new unisex toilet, a storage room, an egress stair. We are relocating the servery for the existing cafeteria, which is what is going to allow us to attach to the building. So we have the ability to tie into the building by tying in through this area here. There'll be 4 classrooms, as well as those toilet rooms. And then we're also renovating an existing classroom. Since we're able to regain a full-size classroom, we're picking up classroom 112 for use as an art room. That'll get art off the park. And then we're actually renovating the stair towers that you see located throughout in order to do very similar things with treads and wall finishes. Level 2, again, it's a duplicate of the first floor. We're picking up 4 pre-K classrooms. We're also picking up that unisex toilet. We're picking up an administrative office, and we're creating an SGI in that second floor classroom, which allows us to tie into the existing building. This is a rendering of what the addition could look like. This is in the courtyard entrance, creating that same main entrance, putting a canopy over it, and then allowing a second floor, two-story, four classroom addition on each floor. This is from the field. On the right is what it would look like from the field side. An idea of what those pre-K classrooms could look like. Again, flexible, movable furniture, able to grow and move with the curriculum, so that it would support that program. School number 3, capital projects for school number 3, site work, parking, roofing, cafeteria, renovated stair to create a corridor for our addition, as well as mechanical, electrical, lighting, and plumbing as well. In this site plan, you'll see there are 2 additions. One is our 3 classroom addition. One is our new cafeteria, music room addition, off of the front of the building. So in this scenario, what we were looking to do is, here's a full-size classroom. We've divided that classroom and created 2 small group instruction. The existing main office, which is in this area here, very inefficient, a lot of wasted space. We've reclaimed that and we've created a full-size classroom as well as a small group instruction classroom. So we're picking up additional classrooms within the irregular footprint. And then we are building our addition here, which picks up a new main office, a new secure vestibule and entrance here, a corridor that ties into the existing building, and then you're picking up a new art room and 2 small group instruction classrooms as well. Our addition in the front is a single-story auxiliary cafeteria and music room addition. What that does is free up space to be able to have functions while recess is going on in the multipurpose room during inclement weather conditions. It just provides an added space so that we're not overcrowding that multipurpose room. On the second level, we've got 2 additional classrooms, 3rd grade math and 3rd grade ELA. We're renovating another classroom for OT, PT, and that's where our office was originally. That got pulled out and brought back to school 1. We're picking up an OT, PT classroom as well as a small group instruction classroom. The second floor of the addition is being designed in a manner that if growth continues in the district and additional square footage is needed in the future, the second floor would be able to support a 3rd floor in the future. And then that stair tower the new stair tower that we're constructing needs to continue on the 3rd level, be able to provide egress out of the 3rd floor corridor. This is an idea of what that auxiliary cafeteria addition could look like. All right. An image of what that cafeteria could look like, and this is an image of what that 2-story addition and new entrance could look like. Just another blow up of the auxiliary cafeteria addition. An idea rendered what that new main office and secure vestibule area can look like. Our new digital media classroom. What that auxiliary cafeteria music room addition can look like as well. Just another view of that auxiliary cafeteria. So when we talk about, and that's the projects through the 3 schools, but when we talk about what we're really gaining at each school, I want to talk just real briefly about what you're actually getting at each school and what you're picking up in terms of classroom space. So creating the new multipurpose room in the separate entrance that has the full-size gym, bleachers, storage, and the performance stage allows us to pick up 2 small group instruction classrooms, 2 general ed classrooms, 1 new PE office, and 2 reinstated toilet rooms. At school 2, we're picking up the 8 classroom pre-K addition. We're picking up 1 small group instruction room, 2 unisex toilets, an administrative office, as well as storage rooms and an egress stand. And then at school 3, we're picking up the 3 classroom addition, a STEM digital media classroom, a 3rd grade ELA, 3rd grade math. We're getting a new secure entrance and main office, as well as 2 small group instruction classrooms. We're also getting the auxiliary cafeteria performing arts addition in the front of the building. So one of the most important parts of the referendum would be the projected costs. So in looking at the costs at a glance, You can see a large portion of the referendum, about 22.5 million, is in those capacity generated estimates. We've got 13 million in interior renovations. We've got $3.9 million in roofing. So when we talk about being able to do these projects out of the district's capital budget on a regular year, they would need $3.9 million in surplus to be able to do just roofing projects at the schools. So there's a lot more that needs to be done. As part of the additions, you've got electrical upgrades, 1.8 million. You've got mechanical upgrades of 1.3 million. There's toilet room upgrades of 376,000. So there's a number of projects that need to be done that comprise the total cost of this referendum. So when you look at each school and we look at the total project cost based on each school, school number 1 has about $19.4 million in total cost. We are, however, receiving $4.5 million in debt service aid, which reduces the net taxable cost to $14.8 million. At school 2, it's $12.5 million in total project costs. We're receiving $1.9 million in debt service aid, and we're receiving 10.6 final cost net taxable impact. And then at school 3, $12.9 million in total project costs with $2.25 million in debt service aid, reduces that cost to about $10.7 million. So overall, the referendum is $4.8 million with $8.6 million in debt service aid, reducing that net project cost after debt service aid to about $36 million. That equates to 19.32% in debt service aid out of that maximum of 34%. So with all the additions, we're still getting almost double the debt service aid that was being received previously. Debt service aid is given based on the fact this is a referendum. It's tied to maintenance or education, and it's up to 34% on those eligible projects from the state. So in terms of estimated tax impact, what this means to you, the taxpayer, on the average assessed home of $318,181, the $44 million referendum with the $8.6 million in debt service aid equates to about $474 per year, $118.50 a quarter, or $39.50 a month. That's based upon a projected 4% interest rate over 25 years. Obviously, when they sell the bonds, the cost may fluctuate due to interest rate. Now, so this is not a guess, and it's not based upon the average assessed home. If you wanted to figure out what your taxable impact would be, you would go onto the district's website. There's a calculator listed there. That calculator is tied into what your assessed value would be. You can also find your assessed value by going to the link on the website, and it'll tell you what your assessed value is. Your assessed value is not what you can sell your home for. Your assessed value is what you're paying taxes on. So if you plug in your assessed value, it will tell you what the tax impact is to you for your particular house. If you are currently participating in the Senior Freeze tax program, your taxes would remain unaffected by the referendum. And the Senior Freeze program is, if you're not participating in it now, it's based on eligibility requirements. It's a one-form one-form application to sign up for it, to see if you're eligible, and it would freeze your taxes, lock them in from the time you're paying now. So what exactly would your vote mean? If you voted yes, the district would receive capacity generating additions and classroom renovations, as well as site and infrastructure work in all of those categories that we talked about for $118.50 per quarter. If we vote no, the existing facilities remain as they are. No new capacity gets added. Class sizes are likely going to increase, and the district will continue to have to make changes and upgrades out of their capital budget, which obviously is going to limit the amount of work they can do. And on top of it, we would lose $8.6 million in state aid to offset those costs. The effects of another failed referendum would be what you see here: increased class sizes, and statistics prove that larger class sizes are going to hinder personalized instruction. weekend learning environments, the fact that we will continue to have art and music on carts for our students are going to limit the effective learning environments for them. It's going to continue the strain on our core facilities. Overcrowded cafeterias and common areas are going to reduce the student experience. And then obviously no one wants to hear, but teachers are only going to be able to do so much with the number of kids in the classroom. It's going to decline the educational standards. It's going to hurt the township's reputation for educational excellence. And they've done an amazing job with what they have on the educational excellence part. The schools are doing well. When you walk through the schools, they look great. You'll look around and say, wow, these things look great. What do we need to do? It's not really about the infrastructure as much as it is the capacity. That's where the problems are. Some facts and frequently asked questions. We have received DOE project approvals for this project. Debt service aid of $8.6 million has been approved, and that's available to us regardless of which financing option is being entertained. As I said before, 4% interest rate has been calculated for all tax calculations, and that they could be subject to change at bond sale. One of the things I will point out is that, as we talked earlier, there are significant changes in construction industry due to material increases, cost increases, shipping, labor. Regardless of that, we have a budget that was submitted to DOE, approved to DOE. That is our job as the architect, to make sure that whatever we design gets built for that amount. The district cannot spend 1 penny more than what's approved by the voters. It can't be exceeded. They can't pull money from another budget. They can't bring in money from some other location. That number is what it is. Another frequently asked question: what happens to children before, during, and after construction? Safety and security is always a priority for the district. In most cases, renovations are typically done over summer or at times when students aren't in school. Additions will likely be built during school, off of school. Any disturbing or distracting work will be done at off hours. But when school's in session, any time that work is being done, it will be separated from the students so that there's minimal disruption. All workers on site are vetted and undergo background checks. The Senior Freeze Program I mentioned, all of this presentation will be up on the district's website. There are links and QR codes that are located within. There's a QR code here that takes you to the Senior Freeze website and application so that you can take a look at it if that is in your area. If you're participating, your taxes remain unaffected. If you're not participating, it's a simple application. There are other programs as well. Anchor, which is a property tax rent relief program, and Stay New Jersey, tax credits for seniors. That's also available. It's all part of the same application. One question that we always get: why wasn't this work done over the past 20 years? Well, the last referendum was, over 10 years ago. And during that time, a lot of this work was done. But as I mentioned before, when you have educational programs that take precedence, maintenance becomes secondary. You do it at your house. I do it at mine. We do what we can at the time. So a lot of times that work gets kicked down the curb and it builds up. You can't do it under the capital budget with the 2% cap. So a referendum is typically the district's best chance at getting something like this done. Potential construction schedule. Again, the amount of work that you saw here tonight is not something that's done in 1 year. This is a 2 to 3 year project, 2 to 3 year endeavor, and anything that's involved in getting the project done will be designed and then put out for bid at times where we can secure the best pricing. If we go out for a bid in May or June, we're going to get horrible pricing because contractors already have their workload. We need to plan for going out to bid in September and October when contractors are finishing up on their last school jobs. So we need to be strategic, and allowing that flexibility of time allows us to bid at appropriate times for better pricing. Why not wait till prices drop? Given where we are in time, it's unlikely that pricing is going to go lower. Obviously, there was a huge increase during COVID. It has stabilized somewhat, but it will never be at pre-COVID prices. And all of that being said means that if we wait, pricing will go up and we'll be able to do less for the same amount or less amount, less work for more money. Student teacher ratio versus class size. There was a question asked. Student teacher is really a metric that's calculating by taking the total number of students in the district and dividing it by the number of full-time equivalent teachers. So for example, if the district has 1,000 students and 100 full-time equivalent teachers, the student to teacher ratio is 10-1. That has nothing to do with class size. The average class size refers to the average number of students in each general education classroom. So if there's 25 students assigned to one teacher, there's 25 kids in that class. That's the class size. Now, the district has had a class size practice of 22, 23. That class size practice is growing because of, and at certain grade levels, because of the enrollment increase. The QR code you see here is something that you can scan. The website has a landing page for the referendum, and all of the information you saw here tonight is available on the referendum. It's available in a voiceover presentation. It's available in informational packets, which break this presentation down into what you might want to just see. So if you want to see the finance part, you can look at the finance part. If you want to see the plans, you can look at the plans. Those are all things that are going to be available to you. As new things come up and new meetings get posted, and we're going to post new opportunities to view the presentation, they'll be posted on the district's website. So that's your best bet. We'll be sending out social media posts and blasts as well to be able to ensure that all of this information is available to everyone. And that's about it. That covers everything.
Okay, thank you. Before we proceed, can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items? Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman Havelitz. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Madam Clerk?
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. It is preferred if you give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This time I'm going to ask the council members if they have any questions or comments, along with the mayor.
I do, Council President.
Mayor?
I heard that just since October, there's been 44 new students added to the district. I know, based upon the reports that I've gotten of our new development, that all of the units essentially by October had already been filled. Where have 44 new students come from since just October?
Yeah, so we had a comprehensive plan done from an outside company who came in. He did a fabulous presentation at one of our public meetings, and by the way, we had one done just 5 years ago, and we are exactly where that demographic study said we were going to be, literally to the student. This one, we're slated to be to the student again. They're saying the turnover is in single family homes, that it's not coming from the new developments, that older people are moving out, they're selling their homes, and families are moving in. So within that presentation, the gentleman did say publicly, and it is in our presentation, that it's the home turnover. It's a great town. There's great recreational programs. There's a wonderful farmers market, and the schools have won tremendous awards. We have a fabulous special education program, so a lot of people are seeking that out. So as per the demographer, there is a substantial turnover in those homes, and we're definitely seeing that.
Council members? Councilmember Havelitz, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent. So my first question would be also a little bit about capacity. About how many students do you have currently at each grade level?
So it's interesting because we get these peaks and valleys. So we'll have 117 in one grade and then 89 in the other. Then we have 120 in the next grade, and then we have 90 in the other. What I can tell you is, I'll start with school 3. We're bound by that building because of the number of classrooms we have. Right now, I physically cannot have more than 6 sections of one grade and 4 of the other. We departmentalize. So that means that we have to function on an even number. One teacher teaches the same group of students math and science, while their peer teaches the language arts and social studies. There's literally only 10 classrooms there, so we cannot exceed that, which is, we had a double whammy this year because the 4th grade is our largest class size, and we did not have enough of classrooms to fit. Then 3rd and 4th actually are our 2 largest class sizes. I would say right now, I think 118 is our largest class size.
I'm just asking,
Yep.
I have 3 children who went through the school system,
Mhm.
and there were always 120, 130 kids per grade level, which there weren't capacity problems at that time. So maybe it's just the way that the classes are running now at school number 3. I haven't been in school number 3 in a very long time. What happened to the existing Board of Ed that used to be on the ground floor? Do they become classrooms?
So they're going to, in this plan, right now, they're the main office.
So there's a main office
Mhm.
there, and now the administrative offices that used to be at school number 3.
So right
Number
now,
1.
what you're thinking of is the business administrator and her staff were in the basement.
Mhm.
That is now the main office.
Okay.
Because remember, it was the superintendent and principal shared a role. Upstairs was the superintendent / principal's office. That's where the director of special services is now. The director of special services used to be where the school 1 principal is now. And where the school 1 principal is now, where 1 person was, we have 8 people. The entire board office that was in 2 locations is in where the school 1 principal used to be.
My second question is, we talked about the pre-K implementation.
Mhm.
So there is state funding for that. I know that we mostly talked today about the referendum, but we're now talking about a different form of funding, which is the Passaic County Improvement Association, the PCIA. How will that funding affect the money that would be borrowed?
Okay,
And
so that's threefold. It's 3 different things. It's very convoluted. I'm gonna start with the pre-K. We cannot qualify for the pre-K money until we have the space. So we have literally looked at aerial views of the town. We have gone to churches. People have called us. The rules are very specific. That's why you actually see here, Mr. Messinio spoke about an administrative office. There must be a pre-K administrative office. There must be a bathroom inside each classroom. There must be a certain amount of square feet. You cannot apply for the pre-K funding until you can certify and secure that you have all of those things. So the rents that some people were asking that would have only gotten us 3 classrooms were astronomical. A case, and most of the places did not have the square footage or the restroom requirements that are needed. The Passaic County Improvement Authority, what happened with that was, I guess it's 2 weeks ago now, where we had to submit our documents down to the county. The next day, they engaged with us to inform us of a new law that had gone into place by the state early 2024, and then each county had the opportunity to approve it, which Passaic County just did not too long ago. And they were interested in having conversations to see if we wanted to go that route. The state actually, that same day, came out with another program that allows school districts to acquire funding from different types of municipality outlets. And I think that's a common theme that they're saying schools, every time you open the newspaper, who's going bankrupt, who has to close buildings, who's not being able to get their funding. So I feel like maybe they're trying to come up with ways that make it a little easier for schools to get the capacity issues and the aging building infrastructure issues taken care of. So what that does is there's an extensive application that needs to be filled out. They have to review all of the projects. There's all different questions about any time there ever was another referendum, any debt that we have currently, things of that sort. And then they would need to approve whether or not they'd be willing to fund the projects. So it would work the same on our end, that we would have to pay back bonds The difference is either the voters vote yes or no, and if they vote yes, we get the bonds and pay them back. If we go the route of the Passaic County Improvement Authority, they secure the bonds without the need for a vote, and then we pay them back through them. So nothing changes on that piece, nothing changes on the state aid piece, even if we go that route. The $8.6 million that we acquired from the state still stays intact.
But will the state aid offset, in other words, paying back some of that bonding that?
Yes,
you're doing?
either way.
Either
way.
And then lastly, we also talked a lot about the taxpayer portion, and being able to come up with that guide of how much you would be paying. We did see in the letter that it said that it might be able to save taxpayer money. So do we have an exact financial breakdown of how much per household it would cost if it wasn't the referendum and if it was the PCIA?
We will. We do not yet because this is all so new. The bond council is looking to the hope is because their bond rating would be better than ours, that the rates would come in lower, but it's not that simple. There's different types of ways to secure bonds. And so we're looking to get a side by side, and our architect, attorney, and bond counsel are guiding us the whole way so that we make sure we're comparing apples to apples and everyone has all the same information. So what we did with that September vote wasn't to eliminate a referendum altogether. It was to give everyone the gift of time because this is so new. There is another district in Passaic County that is also looking to go this route. And we just wanted to press the pause button to make sure that we get all of the information to see which is the best option for the taxpayers, for the students, for the school district, and weigh all those different pieces to the puzzle.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilman Vanchery?
Yeah, thank you for coming and presenting this. I'm going to ask some questions because I can be honest with everybody in this room. When the letter came out to parents, as myself, as you guys know, I have a student still in the school. Most of us were contacted, people sitting up here as well as the mayor, with residents asking a lot of questions, looking for answers. Not sure if they reached out to you directly or the board, but no, us. And the obvious questions that came up were, with this whole Passaic County Improvement Authority, where did this come from? I mean, it does look like all of a sudden, wow. I mean, to the firm, did you guys know about this in advance? How did this come about? Because I think the feedback that I've received, and I know some of my colleagues have as well, they want to know how this happened and then what does it mean for the residents, because now they don't have the opportunity to vote. So how do you respond to that when taxpayers in this town are saying, okay, we had a chance to vote on a third referendum, now we're not, that's going to take place on August 20th. So these are the questions I know the 30 plus people in the chat are going to ask the people in the room, because believe me, they're not here to look at the us approving some can shakes and some fireman badges. They want to know these questions. So if you could enlighten this crowd, because I know you're going to get this question. So I figure.
Yeah, and not to be repetitive, because I feel like I kind of did just answer that, but I'll go a little bit more specific again. So nobody knew about this program. I'm assuming, and I'm assuming, once we submitted to the county and people in the county saw that we had a referendum, they reached out to us and said, would you like to engage in a conversation about an alternate way to get projects approved? It is a brand new law that no one else has done yet because it just passed in the state in January, and each county has the option to take it on or not. The state county has decided to take it on. And so because of the timing of that, literally, we would have had to have everything submitted by the end of workday the next day to the county to move forward with the September election. So to be completely transparent, the complete opposite of what you're indicating, we sent out a letter that day so that everybody knew why we were holding an emergency meeting. There was literally not even 24 hours time available, because by the time they contacted us, we only had till end of day the next day. So we had an emergency meeting, which our attorney had to be at. We had to have the majority of the board. So once we found a time that worked for everybody, we moved forward with that. And as our attorney explained at that meeting, what that was doing was giving us the time to press the pause button and do our due diligence to look into what this program means. And quite honestly, the Passaic County Improvement Authority is looking through it as we are. It's us and another district that they're working through the process together with, contacting the state as they move forward, because it is that new that no one was aware of it and no one has done it yet. But that being said, when they come to you and they say you have the potential of raising the taxes by less than if you do a referendum, you have the guarantee of the projects moving forward, and you also have a shorter timeline for the selling of the bonds, which expedites the construction, the board would be very much remiss if they did not vote to at least hear that out. No one has made any decision yet as to what direction until we have those side-by-side comparisons that I was just talking about, and the board is able to take a vote. We don't know what direction we're going to go.
Councilman Vanchery.
Yeah, so take me through it hypothetically, because again, these are the questions that we received over the last week or so. If this comes to light, they approve you, what happens on August 20th?
We don't know. That's how transparent I am. What we think is going to happen is between now and August 20th, we'll find out if they approve our projects. We believe, and they believe, that the county commissioners also have to approve it in addition to their improvement authority. So those two sets of people would have to vote that, yes, we believe that all of this is necessary. They look at our specs, they look at the required New Jersey Department of Ed specs. They look to make sure that everything in here is necessary and sound. They look at the history. They vote. Hopefully, simultaneously, they send us the numbers before they make that vote. We get them to the board. We have a meeting with our attorney, with our bond counsel, with the architect, so that we can look and say, okay, there's 27 pros and 10 cons, and we go through the list, or vice versa. There's 10 pros and 27 cons, and our professionals walk us through the different scenarios. And then at that point, the board would take a vote if they were going to move through with the Passaic County Improvement Authority. We set August 20th based on the timelines necessary for a November election. We just had to get a date out there. We're not saying we're definitely going to go with a November election. Nothing may happen on August 20th. We may not have any answers yet. And then it would be pushed back to our September meeting. And then if we did need to go to election, it would then be pushed from there. Nothing changes with the scope of the work, and nothing changes with the money that the state is willing to give us. So right now, we are making these meeting dates based on the recommendation of our attorney and professionals, based on the information that we're receiving from the Improvement Authority and the required mandates for having an election.
Do you have any more questions, Councilman Vanchery? Okay. Councilwoman Patel, do you have it?
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Just a few quick things. So you did focus a lot on the need to increase the building capacity because of the number of students that you foresee. So if I'm correct, you're overall adding 8 new classrooms between the 3 schools, 5 of which are small group instruction classrooms.
No.
Okay. And
That's okay. We're adding 8 classrooms just at school 1 for preschool, which opens up any school two, I'm sorry, which opens up any currently used preschool classrooms for other uses. We're opening up another 2. Oh, there you go. So there's 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 new classrooms, regular size classrooms.
that's including pre-K.
Correct. But
Saying aside from.
okay, but so Right now, we have 3 preschool classrooms. So by opening those 8, that's 3 additional classrooms that it frees up. So that's why it's a lot of the building and renovating that's going on opens up other spaces, correct? So at the end of the day, there's 14 classrooms, including those 8. So if you want to take those out. But there will be 14 full-size classrooms available, 8 of which for pre-K.
So now with the pre-K program, because you already explained how we need the space in order to get any assistance, but you did say that there's other neighboring districts
Yes.
that have received funding. Do you have any idea how much funding they've
$2 million a year.
per district? Okay, and then hypothetically, if we were not to receive that funding, but we went through and we have the 6 classrooms, sorry, 8, is there sufficient money in your current budget to have teachers for all of those classrooms?
That's included in the pre-K money.
Okay,
So
There is
that's
enough.
in that $2
Yep.
million. Yep. So within the $2 million are the pre-K teachers, supplies, and then portion, what was spoken of before. I'll use an example. She's here with us tonight. So Ms. Costello is our school 2 principal. So since pre-K will now be 1/4 of what she's overseeing, 1/4 of her salary can come out of that pre-K money. So in addition to the regular teachers, I could pull 1/4 of the nurse out, 1/4 of the principal out, a 1/4 of the, which then opens up that money in general budget funding.
right, but that's if we receive assistance for the 2 million.
Correct. Right now,
If
there's
we
been no one
don't-
denied. Once you have the space, there's a huge push for this. They're saying there's no law right now, but they're saying that it's going to be a mandate.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Murphy?
Thank you, Council President. So I think some of my questions are already answered, but a lot of mine are more financial. And thank you all for being here tonight too, by the way.
Thank you.
For my time on the board, you know, I'm a numbers guy.
Yes.
And I don't know if you necessarily have those questions based on some of those responses, but I guess my question would be, what is the financial benefit of doing this through the county versus doing it on our own? Like, I guess kind of walk me through why financially this would be advantageous for the board versus it not being.
The hope would be because they have a better rating,
So
the
if
bond,
AAA, whatever it may be.
correct.
So what is our rating?
We're AA.
Double A.
Mhm.
And do we know, I don't even know, do we know what the county is?
Yes,
Triple A.
AAA. Mhm.
Do you know what that, so we don't have an even
Mhm.
estimate on how
I
that would
wouldn't,
pan
they're-
out?
yeah, they're working
Okay.
on it.
Okay.
Mr. Messino, if you do speak, sir, you have to speak to the mics. You have to be
Apologize.
recorded.
The county improvement authorities, finance people are working on the numbers so that we can compare those apples to apples.
Got it. So when do they get back to you? So the hope, I guess, is by October, August 20th,
Correct.
right? And if they don't get back to you by August 20th, the thing
Then
gets
we'll-
pushed off.
Correct.
But in the event they don't get back to you and this then, because I'd imagine by the county election board, you have to tell them at some point, how does that pan out? So you probably have to remove the question off the ballot by a certain point if you
We
decide.
did. That's why we had to have that emergency meeting.
Okay, so right now,
So right now,
it's fully
we're-
off.
it's, all we did was pull off the September
Got it.
election.
It wasn't pushed.
Is a November election if
Right. So when
doesn't
I
pan
guess
out.
need to know that.
August, right?
Okay.
So it's 60
if you
days
have the
out?
answer-
Is it, how many days?
So before we pick the date of the next referendum, you need 61 days to notify the County Board of Elections. So going back from a November election, that gives us 61 days back from the November
Got it.
second Tuesday.
So you're in a really, really tight
Sure,
frame.
sure.
Right. So if the county theoretically doesn't get back to you by that time, what's the
Which we
plan?
which we don't anticipate, but.
Right.
You know, obviously running numbers, we run our own numbers.
Of course.
People, so the intent, the hope is that in a week or two, we'll know those numbers.
Right, right.
Dealing with people's vacation.
And it's new, right? This is something that I think is new to
Brand new.
to everybody.
Yeah.
The 8.6 million, is that a ROD grant? What is that? Okay,
The 8.6 million is debt service aid.
Okay.
According to the regs, you are eligible for up to 34% in debt service aid. Actually, the regs actually say 40%,
right.
but since 2009,
40,
they only
but it was
paid
broad.
85% of the 40%, which equates to 34% in debt service aid. That's all we calculate.
Right.
However, renovations, capital renovations, all the roofing and the interior renovations, they're all eligible 34%. Additions are watered down. They're not calculated the same formula as those, which is why we achieved 19.3 instead of 34%, because a lot of the additions are not fundable.
Right.
Okay,
It's not on future, right? It's on only current.
it's current.
Okay. But that 8.6 theoretically isn't guaranteed, right?
It is.
Oh, it is.
Guaranteed. Now we have that
This is different.
in letters,
Okay.
different than the rod, yeah.
Got it.
So we have a certified letter.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So,
And that took just so that, for full transparency and so everyone knows how much goes into this, that took a lot of work because they did not come to us with that number at first. It was several meetings and letters to go back to say, we feel this is the enrollment increase and
right.
eventually got it to that
So
number.
the state, I guess, has since approved that 8.6.
Yes,
We're guaranteed that amount.
correct.
Which is good.
That's guaranteed. And that's guaranteed regardless of which path we take.
Right.
Because that was a
Right, what-
concern also.
Proven if-
Correct, correct.
Okay. So I guess really at this point, they're from a financial or benefit, really, we don't know. I mean, it could be worse.
Correct, we don't know.
Theoretically, right?
Right. We have no idea.
Okay. That was the answer. I'm a financial guy, right? So it's tough to know whether it even would be
Right.
even advantageous. I
We-
think
we- yeah,
from my perspective, and I think some of the other council members touched on this. I've been getting a lot of calls on this and asking to explain what's going on or kind of, and I don't know because
Right.
it is obviously brand new. I think a lot of people are kind of thrown off a little bit on the process of it. I think a lot of people feel that, hey, we voted for this twice, it didn't go through, and now we kind of feel like we're being almost not backdoored, but I guess in a sense, they feel that way. They feel like their voice isn't being
And
heard.
we understand how it could come across that way for sure, but there's clearly a reason that the state is going this way. And the folks that we talk to, not even at the county, other professionals, said that they feel that in 5 years, a school referendum isn't even going to be a thing anymore, that there's going to be these other funding options because schools just with the 2% cap and the rising healthcare costs, no one can function. You just can't. And the flip side of it is with the aging roofs and the aging buildings, if God forbid there is a catastrophe, it's going to be much more expensive and much more hazardous. And we've seen other districts where roofs have gone, where kids are going to school on the weekends, so the work can get done during the week. Where the need hasn't changed. Yes, the people have spoken twice, but the need has not changed.
Of course, but
Yeah.
no, that's
I know. I get
that's
it.
the overall
Yeah.
thing that we've been getting. I know my other colleagues
For
have
sure.
gotten, those similar questions.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take too much time. I'm sure you guys, but I think let everybody else speak on.
It's fine. At this point, we're going to open up to the public. For those that would like to speak, please approach the podium. You just say your name. You don't need to say your address. So the floor is now open. Can we see who's in the chat as well, please? No one? Would any you could just state your name.
There is a hand raised.
Okay, we'll get to it. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Brian Duffy.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for your presentation today.
Thank you.
If you would talk, sir, into the mic, if you don't mind, just raise.
Sorry,
Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you.
How much this is all about capacity.
Mhm.
He said, being told, take away the pre-K. Let's just say the 3 classrooms that the pre-K would add in the building. Let's say we did a smaller addition, just bid those 3 classes. How much capacity do we add if this is done tomorrow? Through all 3 schools? How many?
I don't know.
How many-
Restate the question. I'm sorry, I don't
If we
understand.
got rid of the 8 pre-K classrooms, because this is all about, we're being told this is about capacity, the needs of the district. If we get rid of the pre-K,
Mhm.
but you said the pre-K frees up 3 classrooms in the school, right? So if we did a smaller addition, no pre-K, added 3 classrooms to school 2, with what's going on with school 3 and school 1, how would that increase capacity? Number of students? How many, you said, in 5 years, we're gonna be.
Oh, so the
But
number of
this-
unfilled students
How many-
based on the
how many
demographic
students
study.
Do we add with this, I can't even call it a referendum because let's be honest, it's not a referendum. anymore.
Well, we don't know yet. That's what we just said.
My
We're not
question
sure.
is this, okay, since you still haven't gotten back with the capacity, if the county, how long are we gonna wait for the county before we make a decision to go back to the voters and have a referendum? Is it gonna be October, January? Because the
We're
further
hoping,
it out, the further the vote goes out. So it sounds to me like you're just gonna wait until the county
rubber stamps it.
No, we can't make a decision until we have the information from the county. There's
I
no way we
understand
can
it,
make that.
But I did not hear that at some point you would go back to the
No,
vote.
I actually just said that.
I didn't know.
Yes, so we're waiting right now. The reason we made an August 20th meeting is because that gives us the 61 days we need for a November election.
Yes, but you said if you don't hear from them on August 20th,
Yeah.
you'll have to push it out.
Right, to September, which would give us a December election.
Okay, and what happens if you don't hear from them in September?
Then I'm assuming, I can't speak for the board, but I'm assuming then we would say we're just going to the voters.
Do you think, you said that according to officials you're talking to, that in 5 to 10 years,
Mhm.
referendums be a thing of the past
Yes.
because of, do you think that's a good move overall for a society to lose the opportunity to vote on
I'm-
spending projects?
I'm not here to make that statement or decision. I'm just here to give these details, but I do want to touch on something with the pre-K. We are at capacity. The demographic study shows that we have what's called 112 unhoused students. That means based on the size of the buildings, there's not a seat for them. Okay, that takes into account all the spaces. I'll give you an example. The multipurpose room at School 1 by fire code houses 300 students. We have with staff 450. So with the pre-K, that is not the capacity piece. That is providing pre-K, which we're being told is going to be a mandate, but I understand, but
It's not.
okay, but I'm being told by my Department of Ed that it is going to be mandate, but even if it's not, it comes with $2 million of funding for the district annually that Wayne is getting, that Woodland Park is getting, that Clifton is getting, that other towns around us are receiving, and we're not being able to take advantage of that. So that's where that pre-K piece comes. It comes with a lot of
Will
funding.
that $2 million paid on taxes?
It could. It could.
Because it just sounds like to me that the pre-K part of this is $10 million. Let's be honest, that building's $10 million. You take that off the equation, that's a lot less. But what it all comes down to is regardless of how I feel about this or not, I have no voice. This is the only voice I got. If you go this other option, you take it out of the voters' hands.
We appreciate that and
That's
we
not really
understand that.
fair.
We appreciate that and we understand that.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Duffy.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming this evening. The floor is open.
There's a hand up, Council
I'm sorry, there's a hand. Is that Dorothy Catabo? Dorothy, can you hear us?
Good, ask her. Yep, there you go.
Dorothy,
She's got accepted on her end if she wants to. There you go.
Hi, I'm here.
okay, Dorothy, state your name,
Can you hear
please.
me?
Yes.
Dorothy Cataldo.
Good evening.
Hi. So when the most recent newsletter that we got says that there is no referendum cost for seniors in the senior freeze program, and it was also part of the presentation. Who absorbs the difference in that cost? Whoever's not a senior?
That's a good question that I'm sorry I don't have the answer to.
To put that in, we're going to look into that and we'll put that in the,
Get an answer, but I don't have that answer.
we update the website regularly with frequently asked questions. So Mr. Messinio will look into that and we'll get an answer for that up on and Mrs. Marchesani is going to remind me to email you directly with that
Okay.
answer. He has it.
Thank you.
That's
I
it.
also have another question. I want to say in the late fall, maybe in the beginning of the winter, another newsletter came out that said that all of this extra students are coming from the new buildings that were approved in the township. And your testimony earlier said that's not the case. So can you clarify for sure?
That's not at all what it said, but it is how it was interpreted. What I said was, it's very easy to blame the new construction because you drive down Main Street and you see it. So that quote was taken out of context. That is not where
Okay.
students are coming from.
It wasn't, yeah, it definitely wasn't clear because to me, it did portray that, have you seen all the new developments? So right there says to me that it was caused by that. Another question I have is what other district is in the process of the PCIA?
I'm not allowed to say that.
Okay, So then do we know what other preschools have already received funding? What other townships?
Preschools,
You
we
did
get,
mention Wayne.
yeah, Woodland Park would be our closest neighbor, Clifton, Nutley. You could Google that, it'll come right up.
Okay, I'm just asking because it was brought up.
Well, there's.
Yeah, I think the other stuff was answered with Mrs. Hablitz's question, so that's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chat that has their hand up? I can't see the name from here.
Mrs. Swanee.
Uh,
Hi, Mrs. Swanee. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, hi, it's John Swanee.
Oh, hi, John.
How you doing? This is a general question on taxes. So I'm not really sure. We have approximately 400 new units that have been built in Little Falls, which I assume are paying a portion of that to school. Do you know how much more new funding has come into the schools, and what are you doing with that money?
I'm sorry, Mayor, for those that have cell phones on, can you please put them on silent? Thank you. Mayor?
Sure, so I can sort of answer this, right? And I think there's a misconception that a portion of everybody's taxes or a specific percentage of everybody's taxes goes to the schools or goes to the county or comes to the local municipality or the library or the regional school for that matter. The way school boards in these types of districts, I'm saying these types of districts, meaning unlike Jersey City, unlike Newark, unlike a lot of the larger cities, school boards create their own annual budgets with the caps that they have and stay within those and need their approvals. If a school board, and I'm going to make up numbers here, these are not Little Falls numbers in particular, but if a school board this year needs $25 million to operate their budget, they send us the note that they need $25 million to operate the budget. The tax collector assesses across the municipality the $25 million that we need to raise based upon the assessed value of your property. If next year the school board says we need $27 million to operate, the tax assessor figures out what it would take to raise that additional $2 million across the assessed properties in town and raises that additional $2 million. So there's no one here that, so for example, if a new home is built, not 25% of their taxes goes to the school or 50% to the school or 25% here or there. So I think there's a misconception that a portion of your taxes does go to the schools, but it's not because there's a specific percentage that goes to the schools. Again, I think that there's some misconceptions related to paying taxes to the schools or the municipality between the local municipality, the county, the library, the regional school, and the local school, which makes up our annual budget. The tax assessor is required to raise X, that number, across all of the assessed values across the municipality. Does that help explain that? Because again, it's not a very basic or simple thing to understand, and I acknowledge that. I mean, it took, there's certainly, a learning curve in the way that works. Does that explain the answer?
Not exactly, because if we added 400 new potential taxpayers to the base, why wouldn't my taxes have gone down? There's a cap. From what I understand, you said there was a 2% cap on increase in school funding. So my taxes, my school portion of the taxes seem to go up 4% year over year.
Sure. So let me help clarify. The state was cute in creating a 2% cap. There's a lot of things that fall inside the cap, and then there's a lot of exceptions that fall outside the cap. This is not just for school districts. This is a general rule. And things like medical insurance increases, pension contributions, all of these things that really result in massive increases year after year we call them outside the cap. So what does that mean? If medical insurance for the district that has 150 employees, if they have a 36% increase in their medical contributions, which is what is projected next year, that is outside the cap of what they can raise. So while their other expenses can only go up 2%, if their medical goes up 36% in that same year, that's still additional funding that needs to be paid by the taxpayers to cover what is the public portion of that payment, not the employee portion of that payment, which depending on what they're earning can range from, up to 35% contribution and down to as little as, I believe, a 5 or 10% contribution if they're on the lower end of the earning scale in the school. So there are massive numbers that fall outside of the cap that I know you say there's a 2%, and you're absolutely right. If they can only raise taxes, well, I shouldn't say that. They can only raise their costs by 2%. These are things that are not inside the cap. And again, that is more of a general statement. The specific questions related to this, I'm unable to answer. This is the school's, I guess, the school's referendum and the school's presentation. But just to answer the general tax-related questions and the way that municipalities raise the taxes in order to pay all of the portions of what needs to be distributed, those I could certainly help answer.
Okay, now that makes sense. I didn't realize that was the case. I guess one more question. You had mentioned there was a referendum 10 years ago. Are we done paying that off, or are now we piling on another referendum on top of the one we're paying for?
Yeah, there was one before that too. The one that we did 10 years ago is still on, but the addition at school 2 has come off. So there was a area build and some other things. So that's coming off. So you were carrying 2. Now there's 1.
Okay.
Has your questions been answered, sir?
Yeah, for now, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you can approach the podium. Thank you.
47 Oak Crescent Road.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing? I've lived in Little Falls now for 35 years. I have a couple of comments, really more so than questions, because I just want to make sure that everyone's aware and very, very clear that any money we send towards education is incredibly important to me. Right. And I admire you and your staff and teachers at our schools. I've had 4 kids go through the Little Falls school system. I now have 4 grandchildren that are going through the Little Falls school system. I have been, and I've seen the art on a cart, and I'll get back to that in just a few minutes. I'm also somebody who has been in the construction industry for 48 years. I'm the vice president and operations manager for Turner Construction, which is a company that's been in existence for 125. And my concern whenever I see something like this, because, if you tell me that you're going to increase the capacity, you're going to increase the quality of education, because right now Little Falls School District is probably in the top percentile of schools, and we're blessed and we're the beneficiaries of that and the hard work. And I want to make sure that we maintain that. We should never let things that happen in the world outside of our world prevent us from have education as a priority, right? Everything else is secondary to that in my books. I like going to athletic games. I love the athletic programs, but education is the most important thing. Raising critical thinkers in the world that we live in today is very, very important. So as I look at this, and I'm always wondering, when we see these referendums, because I was blessed enough to be here during the one that you just paid off and the one that you had. And there was a couple of things that bothered me back then.
Me too.
Okay. And I don't want to make sure that we have the same thing bothers us again. Right. So my question is this: when we put the estimates together for the 44 million, where did those estimates come from?
So I've been doing this 35 years, and we're the architect of record for 45 school districts throughout the state. This is what I do. We work with construction managers, we work with contractors, but we have a database of costs based on real life projects that we've done over the last 10 years, 15 years. And that database is what we use to evaluate, as opposed to going to RS means or something like that. We're evaluating real life projects in time. So toilet room upgrades, toilet room renovations, roof replacement projects. I can tell you that in 2019, a roof cost $35 a square foot. Today, it costs $55 a square foot. So we use our own database based on projects that we've done, and the projects aren't in the 20s, they're in the thousands. So based on all of the work that we've done, and then we cross-reference them. We have contractors that we work with regularly. they'll send us bulletins from their suppliers letting us know that there's a material increase for aluminum or for steel or whatever it is. We make sure that when we put something like this together, given the fact that this is a 3-year project, there are escalators and multipliers on these numbers. So this isn't what you would pay today. If you did it today, it would be less, but there's percentage multipliers that get us through a 3-year period. And the hope is that when we budget for projects like this, in the beginning, when we first start to bid these projects, they'll come in under budget. We'll build up a little surplus. As we get to year 3, they'll start to come in over budget, and that surplus will offset it. And 9 times out of 10, with the last 11 referenda we've done, we've netted either a gain or broke even by the end of that project cycle. So the numbers are based on real world numbers. They're not made up, and they do have escalators and multipliers on them.
So right now, your estimates are based on your conceptual design.
Correct.
All right, how are you going to control those costs into design development?
It's what we do.
Okay.
It's what we do.
That's, so my question is, will that process be made transparent to the voter base?
Sure.
And we participate in that process.
Well, I think that what's going to happen is as we get into the design process, if and when the referendum passes, we're going to hold design meetings with the district. We are going to look at each of these spaces and each of these buildings. We're going to talk to the people that, to let them know what the plans are. If we decide that based on price increases with a particular material, that something's different, we're going to switch. We're going to change gears. It's not going to be masonry construction. It'll be steel construction with, metal stud. We'll pivot and move, but we cannot spend 1 penny more than what we have. We're working on a $150 million referendum in Bridgewater. It's going to take 7 years. We've got, the ability to pivot and move, but this is what we do. And, we work with Turner a lot. We know the guys from Turner. We work with Epic. We've worked with a lot of construction management firms, and we bounce stuff off of them all the time. We don't like to work in a vacuum. We like to use the resources available to us. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure that this comes in on budget.
All right, so we're not talking about a referendum that gets approved, the funding gets put in place, and then we come back and say, oops,
No.
we need another 20 million
No.
to make it happen.
No, and now, and I'm going to say no, but I'm also going to say that when COVID happened, we couldn't control a $13 2x4. Nobody could have planned for that. And the referendum won't pass if we pad and put so much contingency and multipliers on the job. We have a certain amount that we can do to make it reasonable. We want to have a palatable referendum for the taxpayers, but we have to do our due diligence. And from a design perspective, if you look at the designs compared to the previous referendum, they are much more subdued. They're not fancy all glass and things like that. They're very subdued. We want to make sure this happens.
So one of the other things, I think what makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up is when we start talking about the referendum in Passaic County and what they're willing to do as far as the $8 million, right? And that process to me seems a little ambiguous, right?
I just want to clarify. The $8.6 million is debt service aid that comes from the Department of Education, State of New Jersey.
Okay.
That we get regardless of anything. And the reason I'm willing to say it's guaranteed is because they haven't not paid out debt service aid since 2009.
Okay. So if we were to decide not to go forward with the project, would they give us the $8 million to do maintenance on the building?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
It's project based.
You spend,
there's that one slide.
spend 20 something and we'll give you $8 million.
There's one slide that says you're able to receive that funding because it's tied to education or maintenance part of this project. So,
okay. All right. So the recommendation that I would like to make is if you could map out the process of how all of this works together, because even when we were talking about it tonight, it was more a lot of, we assume that to be true. We think that's going to happen. That might happen. We don't know.
And that's because the program is so
pretty heavy hitters here with the mayor of our town, and if he wants to go toe to toe with the folks that aren't being transparent with you, then sick him on them.
Not being transparent as much as it's
government.
Literally but it's literally the first time this will have happened. So there's a short window. I said these exact words to the mayor. You have a window that's about 5 inches wide between being a trailblazer and missing the boat. And that's, the entire board and myself and my team are on this tightrope of, are we going to be the trailblazers? Are we going to miss the boat on either thing? We don't know. And as we're moving through with them, it's new to them. So they're checking with the state. We asked them, they've said to us, we don't know. We have to check with the state. They call the state, they get back to us. So I want to believe that it's not that people aren't being transparent. It's that because it's never been done before, we're literally creating the footprint. Yeah, yeah, which is great and scary. And that's what's taking the time.
My biggest concern is, you buy a car, it gets dropped in your driveway and the tires are missing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, that's
Absolutely.
so
That's why we asked for that side by side. I think that's really important so that we could see, at the end of the day, yes, less expensive is important, but there's a lot of other things that are equally as important. And we need to see that apples to apples comparison of what each means.
So, I can't speak for everybody that lives in the town, and I can't confirm at this particular point whether I'm going to be in favor of this or not. I still have to do some thinking. This is brand new to me. I feel like I walked in and my wife's been digesting it all day long. I walk through the door and she says, I need a decision on this. How long have you known? 2 days. I'm just getting it now. Okay. So I need some time to think
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
that. But I will say this, that I really believe that the more homework that you folks can do and the more
And push it out.
information you can push out to the residents, the folks that ultimately are going to bear the tax brunt of this. I think that's important. That way
Thank
we
you.
can make an informed decision.
Yeah.
Because right now, if you put it to vote today, you're going to have a lot of folks that are going to say, look, I voted no once. I voted no twice.
Right.
I'm going to vote no now too.
Right. Just because, yeah.
And it's not a question of, they maybe just don't understand it as fully as they probably need to.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, maybe after all the due diligence is done, they may still say no, and I may still say no.
Right.
But
At least you have all the information.
I just want to have that opportunity to understand it completely.
Thank you.
Right. And then what I will do is this, and I'll sit down and shut up. What I will offer, Mr. Mayor, if there's anything that I can do to help with this as far as cost estimates, things like that, reviewing things, I'm more than happy to do that.
So I appreciate that offer. As I kind of said a little earlier, we, being myself in this council, really have nothing to do with it other than we provided this room tonight to have the presentation in here. So I'm sure Ms. Merrill will take you up on that. Myself and this council are really here for the presentation as well this evening to ask our own questions because it's new. It's as new to.
And to have answers, because as they said, people come to them. Right.
Really nice to her too, because I've already given her an application or getting ready to make an application as a substitute.
I love it. Anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr.
Thank
Cooper.
you.
Is there anyone in our chat that'd like to speak?
Oh, yes.
Yes. And Madam Clerk, can you pronounce the name there? Can you hear us?
There she is.
Yes.
Okay, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Earlier in the presentation, you referenced that there's $22.5 million that is attributed to capacity generating space. Of that amount, how much is attributed to the free pre-K?
Ma'am, for the record, can you please say your name and then you could ask the question?
Heather Kreitzman.
Good, thank you. Now you can ask your question.
Okay. Of the $22.5 million that you guys referenced in the presentation that was attributed to capacity generating space, how much of that 22.5 million is attributed to the free pre-K?
I'd be guessing if I told you that answer right now, but I certainly can get it and we'll put it up on the website.
Okay. How much of the 10,000 square feet is contributed to the free pre-K space?
The entire addition is pre-K space. So other than the servery and some storage and toilet room space that's included in that addition, I'm going to say 4,500 square feet of that space is pre-K addition. Is pre-K classroom space, the exact classroom space. So 4,000, yeah, 4,000 per floor is pre-K classroom. So 8,000 square feet of that is pre-K space.
Okay, so presumably we can assume that a big chunk of the 22.5 million is for the pre-K.
No, 22.5 million is for all schools.
All schools, okay. Okay, yeah, it'd be good to know that number because I know the pre-K right now is not state mandated. Is that correct?
It's not a state mandate, no, but it is a program that the state has been funneling money towards to improve the pre-K programs in the state of New Jersey. So it is definitely something on the rise.
Okay. Do we know when it's going to be mandated? What year?
I missed what you said, this sound. Can you repeat that?
Do we know what year it will be mandated? I know we've been talking about it being a mandate for the last couple of years.
Right, because they said 2025, now they're saying 2027. So we do not have a date on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in our council chambers that'd like to come before and answer any questions or have comments? The floor is open. Just please state your name.
47 Oak Crescent.
I'm sorry, for the record, can you just say your name one more time?
Janet Cooper.
Thank you.
The question that I have is, we're getting ready to make all these building changes, et cetera. What's the anticipated, we don't even have all of the empty lots, areas, et cetera, even developed. We don't even have all of them that are currently built, rented out. We really don't have a true idea of what the numbers are. I know that some people would say, oh, no, they're not the ones that are bringing it in. Come on, there's already so many houses that were already here in the town. You can't tell me that exponentially these kids are coming. They're not coming with some of these new parents that are coming into the area. Of course, they want to because of our school systems. So we're getting ready to bite off a big chunk. Will it even be enough? Because we still have development that hasn't even started.
So it's a great question and it's a great point. The problem that we have is that the Department of Education doesn't care. They will not look at projects that haven't been approved. So if the project is on the docket and it's been approved and it's entering construction, we can include that in the demographics. If it is on the horizon, if it is expected years from now, DOE does not look at that. They will not approve funding based on potential. They'll only allow us to take into consideration approvals that are on the docket. So that's where that problem comes into play. The other side of that is, let's say that we do build on speculation and we do get funded for it and the building doesn't happen. Now you've overbuilt classroom space. One of the things that we are doing at school number 3 in the 3 classroom addition, which happens to be 2 stories, even though school 3 is 3 stories, is there is the ability to add a 3rd floor to that 2nd floor addition in 5-10 years or whatever it may be, if we need an additional 2 classrooms there. That solves that problem. We don't have to worry about, finagling the building to be able to handle that. We're doing that now. And that's built into the cost. But as far as designing and planning for potential, DOE won't allow it.
The other question that I have on some of the pictures that I saw where some of these building additions are supposed to go. If I'm correct in saying it's school number 1, that big area, you want to take away the grass field that the kids currently play on, correct?
Yes. So
Thing's going to be like a concrete jungle. Same thing with school number 3, that little corner where we have the flagpole. I'm assuming that. So it's almost like the actual euphemism of or the name of Little Falls. We're going to end up being Big Falls at this point. I mean, and it just does. We're losing our town feel. If you're able to put a 3rd floor on this, school 3, why not build upwards on school 1 as opposed to keep taking, green space and areas and doing it that way? I mean, if there's the potential to do it and you're telling us you can do it, why not?
So,
but it's just a lot of people I know are kind of like, wow, it's like we just keep adding ugly blocks to buildings that have some, beautiful architectural design, like especially school 3 and school 2.
So real quick about school 1, the excavation process that took place way before I got here was not done properly. So that grass area is really only utilized up to where we're going to be building because there's rocks and debris that have come up. So from the street, it may look like grass, but it's not. It's rocks and different things like that. We did try to address that in the last and take some of the concrete away, but that was one of the biggest things aside from the auditorium that people say had to go. They didn't want that area. The other piece, and I'm gonna have the architect speak to this, is what's needed is a multi-purpose space that fits 500 people. The building doesn't have that footprint, so building a third level doesn't give us the footprint of that size
So
space.
taking potentially where the all-purpose room, cafeteria room, gutting that, making that your all-purpose area, and then building extra additions higher up. You couldn't put the classrooms in the extra space that you need.
But the reality is at school one, what we need is core space. We don't need classroom space. We are picking up 2 classrooms because our cafeteria is really only large enough for 2 classrooms. We need a multi-purpose room. We need a large cafeteria. Building those on the second floor is a very difficult proposition. So needing that larger space is really what we need. And quite frankly, we looked at your last option, which was taking the existing cafeteria and the multi-purpose room, putting an addition out in the front of the building on that grass. It was the first thing that we looked at. What could we do? And A, it doesn't fit, and B, our gains are far greater by building that addition in the back because we picked up additional classroom space. It moved pieces around, so.
We have, there's some things that we've been talking about amongst some of the committees of the board about how to add some green spaces, how to add maybe like a garden and things like that, because by nature of the building, there is a lot of concrete. The good news is we're trying to get away from recess in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade because there's no other middle school that has that. It's really an elementary concept. So the amount of time outside is much less there. And to your point, that's why we moved the School 2 addition to not take all of that grass. We came out into the parking lot to keep that. So we completely agree and understand, but unfortunately, there's only, so much that can be done. Yeah.
The other question
Logistically.
I have would be, I know that the price tag that's coming with this is a big pill to swallow for
Yeah.
a lot of the,
Yeah.
new younger families in town that are really struggling just to make bills, pay their taxes. Is there any way that there could be maybe 3 possible proposed, like, okay, this is A, this is like what we really, really, really want. And then this is B, if, when you do start figuring the cost or the costs have gone up, you don't want to go after the fact, oh, by the way, everything we had in A, prices went up and we have to stay at this budget. They want to know what would go then, like what, I guess price is what's concerning.
We definitely understand that. And that is that's part and parcel for having this taken so long. The other 2 were less expensive. They didn't do as much, but they were less expensive. Costs to do the same square footage today are more money. But the reality is that to break this up into 3 separate questions or break it up into 2 questions, normally we would do a 2-question referendum when the break point is clear. Everything else, and then we want to air condition the school. That's a great second question. It's simple, it's part and parcel. Let the public decide if they really want air conditioning. If we were to try and divvy up any of the needs for capacity, which takes precedence, which is more important. Now you split a vote because you're putting more eggs in the school 1 basket than the school 3 basket, and it's not fair to school 3. Because everything here is pretty equitable, you'll look at the capital work that we're doing. It's all the same at every school. We're not doing one more thing at one school where we don't have to. For the additions, we're doing as little additions as we could. We've actually reduced the square footage of the additions and did more interior renovations, which is why we were able to double the debt service aid. We were able to get more this time. So we tried to look at this holistically, but the district has talked about the 2-question, 1-question scenario, not 3, but 2 questions. It's a difficult thing to be able to determine what's priority. And then the public may look at the second question and say, well, it's the second question. It's not what we need. We only need what's in 1. We don't really need what's in 2. And that's the way a lot of referenda are split up is the want is in two, the need is in one. Here, we don't have that ability.
Then who makes that decision? So if you're capped at the say it is past 44 million.
Yeah.
And you find out, oh crap, we can't do this. Who's making the decision of what's getting taken off the table?
So by law, the district has to do what it is that they said they were going to do. And again, I've been doing this 35 years. I've only experienced it in one district, and that was a COVID district. We submitted the budget estimates prior to COVID. COVID hit and the referendum passed, and we had to build projects with pre-COVID budgets on new dollars. So we had to cut back on the number of unit ventilators that were done. We still had to do them, but we had to cut back on the number. We had to change the material. We couldn't do terrazzo floors. We had to do VCT. There are things that we need to do to maintain the budget, and that's on us, obviously through a design perspective.
So then my last question, going through the PCIA, am I saying that correctly? It goes, I guess, and it does. It feels, Mr. Ventura, when he said, it feels like it's going behind, the vote then comes to who? Does it go to the school board, or does it actually get put on the ballot for the voters of our town?
It goes to the school board.
So
But in respect to that,
then vote for it, not the townspeople.
correct. But just if I could on that comment, because I've heard it a lot, if we were trying to be backdoor, we wouldn't be at a public meeting speaking about it. We wouldn't have sent a letter out. So we are doing everything we can to get the information. If we were trying to do it backdoor, we wouldn't be here tonight. We would have just heard the numbers. They would have voted in August, and that would have been backdoor. But the fact that we're sending letters out, it's on our social media. We're here today. We're at the concerts in the park.
Well, it's just the timing is always like suspect for a lot of people, because it's like people are on summer vacation.
Yeah.
And then they come back to school in August and go, what the hell?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, that's okay.
What happened? Like,
Right.
when did
And we explain. So
clearly,
yeah,
this isn't a packed house.
right.
So
I
I
know.
would
It never is.
felt that it would even have more people here.
Yeah.
But again, July, you're
Hope is
the most
right.
busiest vacation week.
But that is just the way it is. We were going for a September, we were going for a September vote. So our timing was our July meeting. It's literally as simple as it sounds. And we can only hope that all of you tell all of your people when they ask you and say, come to one of the presentations, call, go online, and there's this entire presentation.
Saw the presentation.
Yeah, so
That's what prompted us to come, and it was
Yeah.
done very well, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you
yes,
taking
please, thank you.
to present. But again,
Yeah.
I don't know how you get the word
I
out.
don't
I
know
don't know how
either.
much more.
Yeah, that's the most
I don't
frustrating
go,
part.
The websites for our township site. I don't know.
But they
Actually,
like the mayor and council said tonight, we have to be very mindful too. They're very gracious in pushing our information out, but this is a school district. So yes, they can use the e-blast, and they've been blasting our letters and they've been blasting our invitations. But as far as the information, what might be helpful is in those invitations, I'll add the link to the information. And so then at least when they push out the invitations, that information is there as well.
thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
Ms.
you.
Stewart.
Thank you for.
Just in the chat.
Mr. or Mrs. Swan.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, hi, it's John Swanee again.
Okay, good evening. You have the floor.
Good evening. Just a thought, with any opportunity to utilize some of the space that's open at Passaic Valley High School to potentially make a junior high school space or free up some of the space in School 1? I know a lot of school districts are doing that. I know it's a regional school, so I'm not sure if it's possible.
Right, the problem is because it's a regional school. We looked into that probably about 5 years ago.
And they don't want the, or it's just not possible, or, I mean, we would still have to pay for the space, I would assume.
Going to be 6 of one, a half dozen of another. You're talking about then adding administrators, adding staffing, so that your Little Falls taxes wouldn't go up, but your PV taxes would. So we did a complete analysis. We even talked about having conversations with Cedar Grove to merge with them at one point, because our enrollment was increasing and theirs was decreasing. We've looked into all these options.
Okay, and it's not feasible.
No, it's just not, it's a wash, so to speak.
But a wash of the 44 million or a wash of your current
Well,
budget or
It would actually probably be more than 44 million.
really to use existing space in a building?
Yeah, they don't have that much existing space anymore, so they would need to build on, you would be talking about needing additional, they would run into the cafeteria situation that we have now, the same thing with their gym, it just, we had all kinds of professionals take a look at it, they said it was not advantageous to either parties.
Okay, I'll have to trust you on that, but I haven't heard that being proposed. All right.
Thank you.
Maybe share that as well, because that would be interesting just to see what, at least it was looked at, an alternative.
Frequently asked questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the council chambers like come before us? Is there anyone else in the chat? Can I have a motion to close to the public comment?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilwoman Hablitz. There's a voice vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? The public comment is now closed. We'll take a 5-minute recess. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate everyone.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Move to, Mike's on. Okay, let's move to approval of the minutes. We'll take both separately. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of June 23rd, 2025?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman Hablitz. Please call the roll for the minutes of June 23rd, 2025.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Havletts?
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Abstain.
Council President Scoba.
Yes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of July 14th, 2025?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Hablitz, second by Councilman Murphy. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Havletts?
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba.
Abstain. I guess, now that the room is empty, I just want to pass on my birthday wishes on behalf of the mayor and the council to Councilman Vanchery. Happy birthday. I was worried that we were going to do that with the room full of everyone and everyone's going to start to break out song.
Thank God.
So happy belated birthday to Councilman Murphy. Seems that July is a popular month for public servants to be born in. So happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Council reports, Councilwoman Patel, do you have anything?
No, just wanted to wish, Councilman Murphy a happy 50th and
Murphy?
oh my God,
Jeez.
I'm looking at him.
Whoa.
Strike that from the minute.
Just wait till your birthday.
I said
Councilman Vanchery, happy 50th. That's all for today.
All right, thank you. Councilman Hablitz.
Just the same, I just wanted to say, happy 50th. Thank you for spending your birthday with us, Councilman Vanchery, and a happy belated birthday to Councilman Murphy. It's great being on this council with both of you.
You look good for 50.
Yeah. You and your twin brother. Other than that, I have no other report for tonight.
Thank you, Councilman Murphy.
Thank you, Council President. You know, when you look at us both in person and you say, wow, one does look 50 and one does look a lot less. Looks pretty good for 50, huh? Happy birthday, Councilman. I guess we look enough alike to where even our birthdays get close.
Yes.
Councilman Vanchery.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, everyone, for the birthday wishes. I joked with Councilman Murphy before and I said, did someone say to you happy birthday? He said it was me, and he got it tonight. Happy
Yeah.
birthday. So appreciate it and all the well wishes. And there's no other place I'd rather be tonight.
Thank you. I just want to say, hopefully at the next meeting, we're going to have a ordinance concerning roosters and chickens. And also, excuse me, Council? Anti-roosters.
Yeah.
Anti-roosters and pro-chickens. Also, hopefully we'll come before the governing, the body with a new rental ordinance counselor that we've been working on for short-term rentals. So look forward to that in your comments so we could bring that on the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilwoman Patel. This is a roll call for the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Havlet?
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes, can I have a motion to open the meeting to general matters to the public?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Hablitz, second by Councilman Vanchery. There's a voice vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk?
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so to the Council President. It is preferred if you give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you. Is there anyone that'd like to speak in the chat? See no one come before us. Can I have a motion to close the public? Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilman Hablitz. All those in favor? All those opposed? The motion carries. I want to thank the staff for assisting me in putting this agenda together. Have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman Patel. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? This meeting is now closed.